Listen up, America. It's getting spooky out here. The economy recession is here, even though the government hasn't officially named it. Money is not going as further as it was 2-3 years ago, and people are feeling the effect. Watch this compilation of TikTok videos of people complaining, stressing, bringing attention to the inflation and the money worries going around here in America.
Guys, I don't know how the average American is making it right now, because from the looks of it, things are just going to hell. For example, if you want to rent an apartment, the landlord wants proof of income 3 times the rent. And out here in northern New Jersey, that means a 1-bedroom, you got to be making 30 to 50% more than the national average. Groceries have gone up like crazy. It seems like it keeps creeping up ever so slightly, but after 3-4 months you feel like it's a you feel the increase. Because last year I would be shopping for myself alone twice a week and it would run me about $80 each trip. Now it's costing me like $125 to $140 per trip. And when I include going out maybe once or twice a week to eat, my total for food is coming out to be crazy. It's over $1,000. And I know it wasn't like that growing up, it's gotten out of hand. But people are walking around like nothing's wrong, everything is fine, everything's dandy. But it won't be long before people are gonna have to decide whether to pay the rent, pay the mortgage, or feed their families. And of course, people are going to choose to feed their families. And so, who knows what's going to happen. But I was at the mall the other day and it was pretty packed. But there wasn't really that many people holding bags. It was just people hanging around window shopping, which doesn't mean squat. It just means people want to get out of their houses and hang around, maybe eat at the food court. And that the food court was popping, of course. But we're gonna have to wait and see. I foresee a lot more shoplifting, a lot of stores going out of business because of that, and there's gonna be a lot of break-ins, a lot of cars being stolen, a lot of parts being stolen, wheels, catalytic converters, which is already happening. But it's gonna more and more people are gonna wanna do it because they have no other way. More and more people are going to turn to scamming and stealing and all that stuff because things have gotten so expensive. So we'll see. What's the solution? The only solution is for the banks and the Federal Reserve to forgive all debt. That's the only way. There's no other solution. Even if we took 20 nations to war and gave them money to buy from us, it still wouldn't help the situation.
Tell you something. When I be complaining about food prices and y'all motherfuckers be like, ain't you rich? Why you complaining about lettuce? Why you complaining about this? That just goes to show me when you become successful, when you have money, you're gonna go broke soon because y'all not budgeting. I get a summary of the money that's being spent in my home every week. So when I'm starting to see that like groceries is like tripling up, it's like, hey, yo, what the fuck is going on? I want to see for myself what the fuck shit is being spent on. And like when I go to the fucking supermarket, like I went to the supermarket, I'm seeing that everything tripled up. That like lettuce was like $2 a couple of months ago and now it's like fucking $7. Of course I'm gonna say something.
Inflation will remain sticky for a decade, and Gen Z and millennials are to blame, says Fortune magazine. It's our fault again. But wait, why is it our fault? Well, according to Fortune, it's because we're spending all our money on necessities. In other words, Gen Z and millennials are so broke that we're spending all our money on food and housing instead of like luxury items. The main takeaway here is that inflation isn't going away anytime soon. But not to worry, the 1% have some advice for us peasants. Just don't eat! To save money, maybe you should skip breakfast. Intermittent fasting, am I right? Come on, kids. Instead of spending your money on necessities like food, you should buy some junk to help me and my executive friends buy a new yacht. Instead of let them eat cake, it's don't let them eat eggs. Maybe we should just change. the name of America to AmeriCorp, since we're just 5 companies in a trench coat pretending to be a country.
Let's talk about how ridiculous it is to try and survive and live in the United States right now currently. Based on inflation, this home that you could buy for $1,785 in 1929, this home came with everything you needed to build a house: plumbing, electric, wiring, trim, paint, everything. You had to build it, but it was $1,785. That's a 4-bedroom, 1-bath home. That home, based on inflation, should be $30,769.47. According to money.cnn.com, the average 4-bedroom home in the United States right now costs $363,401, or 11.8 times the inflation rate. So how did that happen, right? Inflation says that house should be 31 grand. Anyway, let's look at some statistics in the United States right now, kind of associated with 31 grand. The average compact car right now costs $26,000, so you could buy that. Mid-size car, 32 grand, too much. Couldn't afford that, right? That house should be cheaper than a mid-size car. Student loans, $37,338, also more. Food to feed the family of 4, $12,565, or about 2 years of food costs for a family of 4 is what that house should cost. Average childcare expense, $14,760, and that's for 1 child. So if we multiply that by 2 for 2 children, it should cost you about 1 year of childcare to buy that house. Here's a crazy one: taxes to take care of a homeless individual. $30,000 to $50,000 a year today is what it costs to house a homeless individual in the United States. But based on math and based on the government's own calculation to calculate inflation, that 4-bedroom, 1-bath house should cost $30,769.47.
Something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud.
That 95% of the US population is brainwashed into believing that working 50 years of their life on a job that they don't really want to do and trading all of that for 5 to 10 years of quote-unquote freedom, but it's not really freedom because you're old and you can't even enjoy it. It is unrealistic. It is, quite frankly, stupid. Follow for more random tips.
You know, I really try to keep it cute. I try to be understanding, be an adult about this whole inflation situation. But at this point, they're playing in our fucking faces. So originally, I was seeing stuff go up 20, 50 cents or whatever. But what I really want to talk about is honestly the price of French fries and tater tots. Tater tots, more importantly. They were $2.99. Then they went up to $3.29, which was okay. They are now $5.99. $5.99 in the stores. And I am at my wit's end. I'm finna just...
You want to know why millennials are so pissed off? It's because we were lied to. You told us if we put our head down, we did what was expected of us, we were yes men, we would be rewarded by our companies. And to be fair, I do work for a good company. I'm not trying to bash them. But we just had our end of the fiscal year town hall meeting in which I found out I got a 4% raise, and I should be happy because some people might not get any raise at all depending on their situation. Except I also got a notice today that my rent is increasing by 12%. Do you see how that doesn't add up well? 4% increase over a 12% increase, and that is just one bill. That is just rent. That is not food, gas, anything else.
What I'm about to show you is not because I want to hurt people. It's not because I want to make you depressed. It's not because I want to make people sad or down on themselves. I'm only doing this because we need to bring awareness to this situation, because right now Americans are being gaslit into thinking we're just getting lazier and we're too entitled and we're expecting too much. The Great Depression is widely considered, at least where I went to school, as the worst economic time in American history. I want to show you the numbers on what the average income was during the Great Depression to now. Just for reference, the Great Depression is considered to be in this time period, 1929 to 1941. I looked at every single year and looked at what the worst year was. The worst year was 1930 economically for American households. So 1930, the average net yearly income of Americans, this is for one American, not a family, this is for one person, annually was $4,887. Well, let's look at how much money that is in today's money. I'm just gonna let this sit for a second. 1930, $4,881. I know I forgot it was a 7, whatever. 2023. This is for one person, not a family, one person. $88,000 a year in today's money. That was their depression. If that's a depression, look at what we're doing. In 2019, and this was the average income for one American in the United States. Just in case you wanted to see the exact number, I went ahead and converted that over. I even rounded up to 32,000 and put it in for 2023 from 2019, and it's 38,000 a year for one American. We are in a Great Depression. I mean, I said in another video, we're in the worst economic time in American history. We have the lowest purchasing power we have ever had in American history. And they want to make it seem like I'm lying. This is the numbers. One more thing, because I don't want to end on a negative note. I want everyone to remember something. If you're working full time and you found a way to pay your bills, you're never hungry, you got clothes on your back, a car that you can drive, you deserve massive applause for that. And I don't care what anyone says. If you listen to this guy, what a baby, look at him getting in his feelings. I don't care. All of us collectively that have made things happen under these conditions to take care of ourselves. Some of us have kids, take care of our families, wives, brothers, sisters, anybody. Even just taking care of yourself. If you've managed to make that happen, you honestly, cheers to that.
Well, I had an eye-opening experience with my son this weekend. So my son graduated from college 6 months ago. And when he graduated, he was going to move back in with us so that he could find a job here in this local area and save up enough money to move out on his own. Had no problem with that. So it's been about 6 months. He has saved almost every single dime. He works a 40-hour-a-week job, makes $40,000 a year, which back in my day was sustainable to be able to live. Apparently that's not the case anymore. You can't live on $40,000, which makes no sense to me. So we were looking online at Zillow, Google to find apartments and houses within his budget, a house to rent because he has a dog. So we said, let's write them all down and let's go check them out because pictures don't tell you what's really going on, y'all. So we drove around to some of these and I can't even tell you, some of them I didn't even feel comfortable driving down the street. They were in really, really shady parts of town, looked like a war zone. The whole house looked like it was off kilter. A lot of work to be, it just looked like it should be uninhabitable. Don't rent this. It should just be tore down, right? And then when we went to apartments, these apartments that were within his price range, and when I say price range, they were still going for $800 a month. These $800 a month apartments, I didn't feel comfortable with him living in these apartments. When I say those two look like they should have just been torn the hell down, they should have been. The only ones that are decent, he found a studio apartment that's in a nice neighborhood, $1,400 for 485 square feet. That is more than my mortgage, right? And then regular apartments, not even glamorous apartments, just one bedroom apartment that has normal square footage is anywhere from $1,300 to $1,700. We live in Montgomery, Alabama. We're not in a big metropolitan area. I don't understand how the housing market has gotten so donkey. Okay. And everybody says, well, then he should just buy a house since it's cheaper, mortgage is less than rent. Well, nobody will give him a mortgage loan because he has no credit. Not that he has bad credit. He has no credit. He didn't want to get into debt. So he doesn't have any credit to show for it. So it's like a lose-lose situation. I don't know how they're living. I don't know if he can move out right now because I personally don't feel comfortable with the places he can afford moving to. And he can't afford the normal standard shit that I would have afforded back when. How are people doing this? And how do we expect our young kids, he's not young, he's 25, but how do we expect our youth to get ahead? Really. Makes $40,000 a year, which back in my day was sustainable to be able to live.
Okay, so as soon as she said 40,000, I Googled how much that is hourly, and that is approximately $19 an hour. There is nobody in 2023 that can live off of $19 an hour. Unless you're living with somebody, unless you have roommates and multiple roommates at that, I feel like that's the only way that you could really do it. But housing across the board, this lady was talking about, this is in Montgomery, Alabama, which I don't even know where that's at, but the fact that it's expensive out there, and obviously California, it's like we're kind of used to it being expensive out here, but it's getting to a point to where it's like really a sick joke and people cannot afford basic shit to just survive. And 40,000, I went to college, and I feel like 40,000, that was probably like one of my first job. I was getting paid like $18 an hour or some shit, and I had a roommate at the time, and that shit was barely livable. Like, when I tell you barely livable, I think I was able to pay like my rent, and that's about it. And the fact that this is the reality for most people in my generation is really fucked up, because again, we didn't ask for this, and the previous generations fucked us over just off the strength that they set us up, and we did every single thing that we were told to do. We went to college, we got the degree, you know what I'm saying, and if you didn't, you're probably working 2-3 jobs right now as a result. And even if you have a college degree, it's still, you have to market yourself, and you still have to work your ass off to be able to even obtain some type of livable wage out here. So yeah.
If you grew up poor, you know how alarming this is. What the fuck do you mean one can of tuna is $1.39?
I just thought of something funny and goofy and silly and hilarious. I went to school for 4 years and made a real good career for myself. Except this weekend, I had to choose between going to see my parents for the weekend or getting a fucking haircut. How silly is that? I couldn't afford both, so I had to choose. I work over 40 hours a week and I can barely afford to live. Hilarious.
I just budgeted my paycheck that I get tomorrow, and I have $317 left over after my bills for 2 weeks. I'm gonna have to be a
Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world has fucking changed. All right.
I'm so happy I came across this mom's video. So I'm a millennial. I'm 31 years old. I have been married since I was 18. I've been working since I was 16. I was in the foster care system, emancipated out, blah, 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 blah. I've been on my own my whole life. We are struggling. We are not above water. We are not doing okay. We have 3 kids. We are currently staying with family. Had to leave California to move to a different state to live with family because it is so crazy right now. The last year and a half, almost 2 years, has just been, I don't know what the hell horror movie we're living out of, but it's worse than the lockdown. Just to put in perspective, the condo that we lived in for almost 5 years, we were going to purchase in Palm Springs, California, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, under 900 square foot, but it had a backyard. It was inside a gated community, 1-car garage. In 2018, when we were going to buy it, was $230,000. The owner, because we didn't buy it, it was on native land. The land lease would be up before the 30-year term loan, so it had to be a short-term loan. We just couldn't get qualified as first-time home buyers. There was just a lot of stuff we would have to jump through, and we decided it wasn't worth it. So we didn't buy it in 2018. 2021, the landlord sells it. Do you know how much he sold it for? Again, under 900 square foot. 1 floor, 3 bedroom, 1 bath condo, Palm Springs. $500,000. I am not even shitting you. So we move. We've moved twice since then, actually. And yeah, my health went downhill last year. I have an autoimmune disease, double autoimmune disease now, and I am focused on my health. I worked myself to the bone to where I could not physically get up anymore. And so in September of last year, I stopped working. I also applied for Social Security disability benefits because I have 36 out of 40 work credits that I need to retire. Yeah, so I figured, what the heck, I will apply since I physically cannot move. I'm still waiting to be approved. It's been since September. I went to school, did everything right, had a great job, and then COVID hit, became a stay-at-home mom, got pregnant, had our 3rd baby. We moved, went back to work. Before COVID, my husband and I, we always took turns staying home with our babies when they were little. We have never both had a job when our kids were little, and we survived. My husband is the only one working right now. I cannot make 1 penny because if I do, my application will get denied. For a family of 5, we make too much money for food stamps, but we don't make enough money to qualify for a $1,700 apartment rental. Did apply for a home loan, but the approval amount is about $100,000 less than what you can buy a decent house in a shitty neighborhood. I had to cut my hair myself tonight because I can't afford the $30 haircut. I have PPO insurance and Medicaid. I still have copays. We don't make enough for housing.
With inflation on the rise, all I'm gonna say is if you see me in a self-checkout line, mind your business. Because if you think that I'm gonna do what you think I'm doing, you're absolutely correct. I'm absolutely stealing.
Minimum wage should be at least $20 an hour. Let's do some basic math. $20 an hour at 40 hours a week, that's $800. Let's say they take out of your check $160. Yeah, let's say like roughly about 20% between like your taxes and if you have insurance. That leaves you with $640. Let's multiply that by 4. That's $2,560. The average person right now is paying anywhere from $1,000 to $1,600. Some people pay more in rent. You still have to pay your light bill. If you have cable, you got to pay your cable bill. If you have insurance on your car, cell phone bill, and then if you have any debt. Oh, and let's not forget groceries, because you got to eat, and your gas money. At $20 an hour, it's barely enough. People should not be forced to have a roommate to survive.
Okay, y'all, I went grocery shopping today and I saw something that just absolutely blew my mind. If this does not tell you, number 1, prices are absolutely outrageous. And number 2, we have a serious problem in America. Obviously, people are not being able to afford food, so this is what they're doing. I'm out here grocery shopping. I'm looking to make beef and broccoli. And then I noticed this. Security tags on the meat.
Okay, real talk. How y'all affording life right now? I mean, Pringles are $2.62. My kid's getting the generic form of that, which is Pringles, because I'm not paying that much for Pringles. Like, I don't understand. Like, life is so expensive right now. Like, what am I doing wrong? That's the first thing. Another thing that I don't really even buy very often, I went to go get Pillsbury cinnamon buns, and they were $5.67. I remember when they were $1.99. What in the world? Just don't know if I need to start selling something. Body organs, limbs. I mean, what are you all doing? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm tired and I'm broke, and I'm tired of being broke. So
I just left the grocery store, and I never enjoy going to the grocery store because I hate spending money. And to me, food's just something you ingest and then it's gone, so it's a waste of money. But I left pretty disturbed today. My husband and I were the only two at home. Granted, my kids and their husbands come over for lunch on Sundays, but our grocery bill should not be astronomical because it's just the two of us. Guys, I do not even want to tell you how much my groceries were today. So I'm sitting here in my car, literally flabbergasted. How are families surviving right now? Families on a fixed income, single moms, single parents, grandparents raising their grandchildren. How are they surviving with inflation the way that it is? I'm seriously worried. And it's a serious question. How are families surviving? I'm seriously worried. And it's a serious question. How are families surviving? Okay, that original video I filmed 6 months ago. And y'all, I am even more speechless today after leaving the grocery store. I thought prices were ridiculous then. I just left with only things for my lunch for this coming week at school and something for my family to have for lunch today after church. And it was $75. I seriously do not know how much more the general working population can take with this inflation and the rising cost of food. We have to have food to survive. What is going on? When is this going to end? How are people surviving right now?